Hello and welcome to day 31 of a screenwriter's journey. I was thinking postscript is after, but is prescript before? Prelude? No, I know it's a preface. Um, as you know, I've been recording these many weeks after actually doing the writing. I've been recording the voiceover, and I think it's been at least a week or maybe 10 days or more since I've done the commentary, and I'm knowing again where I am in the current journey of my writing and rewriting of the script. I don't know if it's therapeutic or if it's a bad thing. I don't know, to go back and look at what I've done and either how far I've come or in some cases how far I've regressed. Maybe, hopefully not, but it's crazy. But let's jump into day 31 right now. So, as we all recall, I had changed the location of the airport, and that ends up changing all kinds of details. And I even looked, because I put that 3,200 foot paved runway, because I looked up to see how much room a private jet needs to land, or, a small jet. And so I put that in as a point to show that Holly, for some reason, knows that, which may be kind of impressive. But then I thought, well, that's a little bit over the top. So I just removed that 3,200 foot thing. And as I mentioned, I'm making some other adjustments here. So this is kind of not really semantics. I don't know, logistics, logic. I don't know what you would call it. So let's see what page. So we're on page 81 of the script. And so they're finding out how far the trampoline park is away from the airport so they can figure out, obviously, how long it's going to take them to get there, if indeed that's where they're going. And, it would be kind of a bummer in terms of the movie if they showed up, although I guess that could be funny if they showed up and nobody was there and they ended up running around to try to find them. But spoiler alert, that's not going to happen. So, save. Oh, I literally don't know why I wrote that line that said save your receipt. Sometimes when I write lines and I go, oh, that's so clever. I've talked about this before, but then you go back and you just cringe. Like, Jack, did you actually write that line? So hopefully no one thought it was good. So I'm really jumping around here, so it's kind of hard to give you a blow-by-blow description of what was going through my head. But I'm trying to, again, shorten the dialogue a little, make it clear that Holly doesn't really want what she is about to do to be shared with anyone. Holly says, I don't know where they are, but I know where they're headed. Pardon my yawn. Now we're back in the SUV with the bad guys. Lexi, and we've been over this before, and I'm just doing a little rewriting here. Larry's trying to get inside these guys' heads a little bit, the Clyde and Ace, to sow some seeds of doubt as to either Rachel's motives or what Salerno really has planned. And so I think the reason for this is that so later on, if and when things happen, they'll already be a little bit, maybe not jumpy, but questioning themselves, and it kind of is setting them up for anything that might happen later on. Okay, so I think this is a fairly substantial change. Let's see. So we've changed the airport. They're no longer in the the Arkansas airport. And so the geography of this, again, I looked this up on the map to see what it looked like. And again, you don't necessarily have to, because it's a fictional thing, and who cares if it's set in a real town or not. But so this base operation called TAC Air, that's in the other airport. And this place isn't even an airport. It's just it is a paved airstrip. and it's got a couple hangars and a little office sort of. So the reason I did this, as I mentioned before, is I want it to be a much more rural, out of the way location where you wouldn't have bystanders, passersby, rubberneckers, and the FBI and the local police or whatever couldn't just swarm in, because that's not what this is about. It's not a big gunfight at the end. Okay, I'm checking the name of the of what she got promised before. I don't know why. Jumping all over the place. Yeah, this is... I could have sworn I already deleted that line about your heart in your head. I'm pretty sure I've gotten rid of that along the way. It just is way too on the nose. Go ahead, write it in the comments. Too on the nose. I read this and I cringe a little bit, because I mean, would have Hogan really known that much about her backstory? Would have Noble or someone else said, "Hey, we've got this Holly Hart coming in," and blah 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 blah. It kind of... I don't even know that he would need to talk about the backstory, but the point is that he's deducing correctly the reason she's come back is what he calls a guilty conscience, and Holly is calling it finishing what you started, which is obviously a much more noble sort of, not ambitious, but a better way to phrase it. And then he turns it on her to say, well, look, what you might finish is your career, because you might screw up, you might get killed, any number of things might happen. Okay, so Hogan is excuse me again, is saying kind of what she did before. You did your job, and you shouldn't have come back, basically. The FBI has got it under control. I think this is getting into too much dialogue between these two. You can see, or maybe you can't see, maybe you can, that I wouldn't say they're developing a relationship. Maybe a little bit more respect. Maybe he's gaining a little bit more respect from her based on what's happened so far. So again, he's just not some dumb FBI person that is the foil, or not the foil, but someone for her to bounce clever dialogue off. So I'm kind of maybe smartening him up a little bit. Yeah. So I obviously dialed back his dialogue in terms of him sort of coming back to her. And he again is reiterating he doesn't think that the kids should be involved, need to be involved, etc. I don't know what happened to my dialogue right there, the margin. And so this, I was playing with this again because Holly's got a bulletproof vest on, and Hogan has got one in his trunk, but he doesn't have two or three, one for the kids. So that sort of plays into one reason why, well, a very small reason why he doesn't want them to get involved, etc. But I've sort of jumped past the rest of that dialogue because I'm kind of playing catch up here. All right, so they're at the clothing store, and I think I've already mentioned this, because we've gone way through this, that Holly's idea, obviously, is he's trying to confuse them by having Gary and Larry look the same, and she figures she may be able to use that as some sort of bait or some sort of a trick or whatever. So they get he gets the clothes, he's wearing them, and I guess I thought I already had reviewed this page, but I must have jumped around. Okay, whoa, so I did. I'm revisiting this part where Lexi and Larry are trying to get in their heads a little bit by saying what may end up being the truth, but Larry is just sort of saying it to get under their skin and maybe to make Rachel a little bit upset. But again, you can, I guess this goes for all of us screenwriters. The more you start seeing yourself play with dialogue, the more you realize you don't really know what that scene is about, which is a terrible feeling. There's nothing better than writing, interior car day or whatever, and you know exactly what has to happen in that scene. And sometimes that's the case. You do know exactly what's going to happen, but then as you get into it, you say, oh, I need to also talk about this if you don't have a great outline. Guilty. Or, as I've said before, the characters start talking and they don't lead the scene in the direction and you kind of have to rein it back in. So, for me, scenes kind of can go two ways. They can really drift and meander, and they're ones that I know I'm going to have to come back and keep working on. And then other times it's like boom, 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 and you're on to the next scene. Obviously, that is the preferred way. And I think I've mentioned, and I certainly didn't come up with it, that some people say the first time through a script, the dialogue is the very least important thing, and it's almost a placeholder. You just want to go make sure the story works and then come back and work on character and stuff, which I guess I can see, but I've never had any success with it, and frankly, I don't know that I've ever tried writing that way. Okay, so so here's the bad guys. They've got to the airport. What am I doing? Oh, because they're not near Fort Smith, Arkansas anymore. I think maybe I just changed that slug line or the scene. And I don't know why I decided they should be riding in a pickup truck instead of a black SUV. I have no idea why I decided that. If it was some logistic reason or stylistic reason or story reason or what. But they're at this Jewel B. McCallum, which again is a real airport, is very small. And Ace is still moving the vehicle just in case, which 400 spoiler alert, that probably is not going to stand because it really doesn't make any sense. I needed it before, or I thought I did, because I wanted to split the two up because of what might happen next. But I think I didn't really like it, and so I said, I think I'm going to change that. So anyways, Clyde's taking them inside. Holly and the others are up the road. They're looking through one of those cool what are those things called? Those binoculars? Monocular? So I see one. There could be more in back. Maybe that's part of the reason that I did that. Oh, I'm done for the day. Wow, I was right in the middle of rewriting that scene. So kind of a short day, but that's no problem. I did some rewriting, some refiguring, working on the new airport. And since I did a prelude or a preface, I will do not much of a postscript other than to say thanks for continuing to watch and supporting me with all your generous donations. Just having some fun with you. Anyways, like and subscribe, join the channel, get notifications, all that cool social media stuff, and I'll see you tomorrow on a screenwriter's journey.